Okay, so the goal last week was to put down your sales goals, but then to break them down into specific actions, meaning how many things you do of what, okay? How many parties or classes or one-on-ones, how many new contacts you need to make, how many phone calls, like break it down so you know every week, if I've done this much activity, I should end up with this much sales at the end of the week. Okay, so that's what I need to know if you've broken it down that far. Okay, so Shauna, based on how much you want to do in sales for the month of October, do you know how many one-on-ones or parties you'd need to do that?
Yeah, I put 4.
4 parties. Okay. And tell me what it takes for you to get parties, like how many phone calls or how many outreaches on Facebook. Do you have an educated guess on that?
I would probably say 1 in every 8 to 10 people I might get a party.
Okay. 1 in every 8 to 10. Okay. Now, one of the things, we'll be learning a phone calling system here really soon, and that should get you down to about 1 out of 5.
Okay.
Okay, so we'll shorten up your time on the phone here pretty soon. And so how many do you already have booked for October?
2.
2. Well, great. So you're halfway there.
Yeah.
What will it take to get your last 2 parties booked?
Probably have those parties.
Have those parties. Okay. Are they face-to-face or are they online?
One of them is face-to-face and one of them's online.
Okay, awesome. And when are they being held?
One of them's going right now, and the other one is on the 18th of October, and that's just a home party.
Okay. All right, perfect. Okay, and let's see. Let's go with Tom because he's not muted. Tom, tell me your sales goal again.
My sales goal is to get 3 new people this month. And to do that, I need to be talking to at least 30 people, average. I would love to get that down lower.
So let's divide up people into people that are current customers and might become reps versus people who are brand new, you've never talked to people.
The people I have as customers right now, I've already shown the business to. They were not interested. That's why they became customers.
Okay. So your goal is to talk to 30 brand new people.
Brand new people. And I'm going to an event today where there should be 50 people at.
Okay, awesome. What's the event?
Called eWomen.
eWomen. Tell me more about that. What do they do there?
eWomen Network is a network typically of women with a few guys who get it, who understand what networking really is. It's about getting to know people. Mm-hmm. It's not about walking in and here, I have this is what I'm here to sell. It's about creating relationships.
Okay.
And all the women typically go are business owners.
Okay.
They are business people.
How many of them are like direct sales versus brick and mortar?
I have no idea. This is a brand new chapter in this area. And I've been invited by the head person because we're friends. And she goes, hey, you understand this. You get it. You understand it's about building relationships. I want you here.
Awesome. So obviously you can't connect with 30 people in like an hour and a half.
No.
So what's your game plan to reach out to them after you get an introduction?
My goal is to get just a brief conversation with them, get their information, and say, hey, can I call you tomorrow? Is there a time best that I can call you so we can set up an appointment? We can set up a time. We can get down. We can meet and get to know each other better.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I can help you if I don't know you.
Right.
And in this setting like that, you're not going to get to know anybody very well. You'll get a small feeling for them.
No, but you get names. That's why I'm asking, like, after the event, when you do a sit down with somebody, what's the typical conversation? How does it go? Like, what would you start out with?
Well, typical conversation is, who are you? What do you like to do? What's your goal in life? What's your family goals? To learn more about them, because if as I'm learning about them, if I feel that what I've got is not a good fit for them, well, what can I do to help you?
Mhm.
Find that fit, whoever it is. Be Elizabeth, be it, whoever.
Mhm.
There's something out there for somebody. It's just, is it what I have or is it what someone I know has?
Hey, that sounds good. One of the things I'd encourage is to have kind of a quote unquote, I say this loosely, a script, a couple of key questions, just so that you remember to ask all of them while you're there. Would you like to send me your questions? Because we've talked a little bit about that, and you've seen my Finding New Customers video. Would you like to put down some questions and send them to me and let me help you go over them and see if I can make any tweaks in the wording to help you?
Yeah, I can do that. It probably won't happen today because as soon as we're done this call, I'm on the road.
Okay, no problem.
Which is a 4-hour gathering. So,
Okay.
but no, definitely. Yeah, definitely I will.
Okay, awesome.
We'll do later on today.
Okay, super. Okay, Jen and Elizabeth, tell me how things are going, like what your sales goals are for the month and how close you are to having that many bookings. I'm going to unmute you. Hang on. Oh, whoops. We both did it. Okay, don't touch. I got it. All right, there you go.
Okay, so I need 8 shows.
Okay, and how many are you sitting at right now?
6.
Okay, well, that's not bad. Okay. And do you have a game plan for getting the other 2, or is it mostly this event you're doing on Saturday or booking from bookings?
No, I still just want to get on the phone.
Okay. So, I'm going to say the obvious, which you kind of know, but we all kind of wish it wasn't this way. If you want to close 8 parties, you probably want to book 10.
Right.
Just, not everybody's a flake, but sometimes there's an emergency or an illness or something that pops up. So I would try to book 1 or 2 extra. Like I said, stuff we know, but we kind of wish we didn't have to. So, and Elizabeth, I know you're a phone master. What's going on there?
I want 8 shows, but I only have 2 right now, and I have like 6 people that said, yes, call me on Friday and we'll get this date set.
Okay.
Nobody answered their phone.
Okay. You know what? I'm going to challenge the 2 of you to role play after this call's over. Remember how we chatted? I know you love me so much, Elizabeth, but I make you good at what you do. So, we chatted on Facebook a little bit about slowing down your conversations with regards to bookings, right? So you got to practice with Jen, you have to practice with somebody, okay? Practice with your 5-year-old, I don't care. But you have to practice slowing down and listening more, and you'll be more likely to book some, okay? Your heart's in the right place, but sometimes when we get excited and we're talking fast, it doesn't always show that way, that our heart's in the right place.
Hey, Elizabeth, I've been told exactly the same thing, so don't feel bad.
Thanks, Tom. I appreciate it.
When you say slowing down conversation, what do you mean?
Well, Elizabeth, tell her a little bit about what you're doing and what you've learned.
What I'm doing wrong?
Well, okay, technically, but what you knew to do and now what you know to do differently. Let's put it that way.
So I get on the phone and I use Michelle's beginning script. Hey, this is Elizabeth Tuosto calling, and you wait. And then we met at the Clackamas County Fair. And they're like, oh, okay. And we talked about, I had the lady last week. We talked about how you were, she was in a wheelchair from a car accident and she wanted to get up and walk again. And I said, how are you doing on that? And she's like, oh my gosh, I'm getting up and walking. And I'm like, that's amazing. So you want to book a party? Not exactly like that, right. But it's like I automatically go to, so let me get off the phone and I don't want to talk to you anymore, and just let me get a show on my schedule for you. So now I'm working on 3 questions and talking to them about what they need, what they're looking for. It's going okay. I think I get to like 1.5 questions now, maybe 2. I don't know. So I know what I need to do. It's just slowing down to do it and not rushing to the answer.
Okay, so Elizabeth, let me give you a reason to ask number 3, 4, and 5 question. When they have a whole list of things they want with Pampered Chef, then they have no reason to not book a party. Okay, so that's kind of that's like the gut piece that you're missing. You're talking about, well, I might be able to ask them questions. You are looking for them to say, I need another stone, my one broke, or, or I've had a round one, but I wrote a rectangle one. I've always loved the knives. I've never got one for myself. I want that big frying pan, but I want it half price. The only way I can afford it is if I get it, because I book a show. You want them telling you their reasons for booking a show. Okay, so that there's a value. It's not they're doing you a favor. Okay, that's how sometimes it will come off, right?
Right.
We don't mean it to, and we want to give them lots of free stuff or discounted stuff. But if you don't find out, why they want coffee, why they want better health, why they want beautiful eyelashes, why they want, that awesome frying pan, then it comes off like we're asking them to do us a favor. And it doesn't have to come off that way. That's what I'm trying to help with. Go ahead, Jen.
How do you, for her example there with the lady in the wheelchair, she did everything correctly, bringing her back to where they met, talking about what they talked about.
Right.
So then how do you transition from, oh my gosh, I'm so happy that you're walking again. Well, let's talk about Pampered Chef. How do you transition into that conversation?
So you can say, well, now that you're up and about, does that mean that you're cooking more? Right? Okay. Does that mean, if it was mascara, does that mean you're getting out more? If it was coffee, can you run off the energy from your coffee now then? Whatever it is. Okay. So does that mean you're cooking more? Well, let me ask you, have you bought Pampered Chef before? Do you have any of the products? What is your favorite? What's something that you've seen that you haven't got yet? And do you see what I'm saying? Okay. So then we go into those questions as to what kind of things would you need. Does that help?
Yes.
Okay, so there is a way to bridge it. Okay, all right. So Elizabeth, I need you to say a little prayer. I need you to call a morning session and a night session. I need you to slow down. I need you to have 3 to 4 questions you ask that you're going to ask. And if they say something and you're like, they say, well, I was kind of interested in some more stones. You need to say which stone. Like you've got to know to follow up with a more detailed question. Okay. So yeah. Okay. You've got to get those questions in. You've got to be able to say, well, because you want the chopper and because you want another stone and because you want XYZ, I'd love to help you get a party going this month and get some of that for free and discount. And your customers will order lots, get lots for free because it's, stone discount month. Okay. You've got to make it all about them. And I know you want to. I know nobody is selfish. Okay. And that's the thing. It's like none of us are selfish and really care about the customer, but it just doesn't come off that way if we don't ask enough questions and we just go in for the kill. Right?
Yeah.
Okay. So, we can ask about skincare and makeup. We can ask about their health. We can ask about why they love coffee. We've got to ask questions and it just comes off totally different. Okay. All right. So let's get to work on this next thing. One of the things that I'm really committed to doing is helping you understand about habits. Okay. That's what I want to start with really, really strong. We're going to move on to sales in a more deliberate way. But the thing that you have to realize is you've got to have habits in your business. Now, if you go back to your motivational style, the thing you have to remember is now who's a consistency person and who's variety? If you're consistency, raise your hand if you're consistency. Tom, are you consistent or variety? Okay, then I don't have to explain the variety side of it.
Well, actually, I'm a little bit of both. Sorry.
Okay. Well, for me, I'm variety. Okay. So I like to look at my calendar the first of every week and say, okay, I have to do X, Y, Z, but I want to be able to change it up and move it around when I do it. Okay. And so you want to be able to change those things around. And if you're someone who likes variety, that's how I have to do it. But if you're consistency, then you just need to have it on your calendar. And you've got to look ahead, like I know, for example, Shauna, she works 1 week on, 1 week off, right? Am I remember that correctly?
Yeah.
So she kind of gets stuck with variety, whether she wants to or not.
Yeah.
But she has to have consistency those every other week. Okay. And she's also very good at finding consistency with when she's going to be working a lot. She uses Buffer to get all her Facebook posts in ahead of time when she has it off. She gets them all scheduled for the upcoming week. So those are some things you've got to think about and what needs to have happen. But when you're looking at, you want to have 8 parties in a month, and you're looking at, especially, you really should be looking a month ahead. If it was the end of last month, we'd be saying, okay, what do you need to do? But you really need to figure out on a consistent basis, how many phone calls does it take per week to keep your calendar booked out 6 weeks in advance? Because that's normally what you like to do, right, Elizabeth, the 6 weeks in advance? Okay. So how many phone calls does that take? And your phone calling system should make it so you're scheduling about 1 out of every 5 call, okay, if not less. Okay. All right. So let's talk a little bit about consistency. And who's ever heard of this statement? And it sounds like such a duh, but you get what you focus on. Heard that? Get what you're focused on. Okay. And that seems like such a duh, doesn't it? Doesn't it just seem like, well, of course, what else would happen? You get what you're focused on. Okay. And so it's really, really important to understand that. Now, let me explain something. If I was to tell you that with every ounce of energy you have, whatever you do not think about a pink elephant. Do not imagine a pink elephant with its big ears, its 4 legs, its big trunk, and its Pepto-Bismol bright pink. Whatever you do not think about a pink elephant. Is that easy to do? Is that very simple? Now, anyone who's ever dealt with kids, who's ever wondered, when you said, don't touch that, don't hit your brother, don't go in the street, don't play with that, don't do this, don't climb on that, whatever it is. And it's instant. It's like, what just happened? I told you not to do that. Well, it's the last thing that sits in your head. Your subconscious does not hear no, not, never, don't, can't, won't. It doesn't register those not words. It does the last command that it hears you say. So one of the things that I need you to get really, really good at is starting to tell yourself what you want to do versus what you don't want to do. So Elizabeth, I know you're always a good sport, so I'm going to pick on you for a second. One of the things that I need you to start saying to yourself, instead of don't talk so fast or don't get in such a hurry or whatever you might be saying to yourself, you need to, and maybe you're doing good at this, I'm just using your example, okay? But you need to be saying, okay, slow down, listen, say the words that you want to be doing to yourself, okay? Now, if you have a habit of kind of, like someone who wants to lose weight says, I will never eat sugar and I will get my fat butt off the couch and go walk every day. That's not the most inspiring, and it doesn't give a good image of what you want to have happen. It's not real motivational, okay? And the other thing I have happen is people will say, but I want money, or I want to be thin, or I want to have this, or I want to have that. And yet, let's say they want to be healthy, but what usually is going through their head over and over again is, I'm fat, I'm fat, I'm fat. Or if you want to be wealthy, I'm broke, I'm broke, I'm worried, I'm worried, I'm broke. Okay? The thing that you have to realize is whatever you're thinking about is what you're most likely to get. Okay? I was talking to a gentleman the other day, and he's kind of retirement age, and he was just venting about not being able to find people with work ethic, and not being able to find younger people, and only being able to find people that were a little bit older like him, and his frustration. And I mean, I just wanted to, inside I was just like, oh my gosh, you're totally focusing on what you don't want. Like, everything you've said is telling me what you don't want to have happen versus telling me, okay, I really want to find these kind of people. Where would I find these? And like, you find who you think about. And he was kind of arguing, and I was trying to be patient because I really wanted him to understand, because I wanted him to have success. But he was so focused on what he didn't want to have. I mean, it was painful to listen to. And my heart goes out to him because I really want him to have success. But I'm telling you, if you vent about your team, if you vent about your customers, if you vent about your hostesses versus how can I help this person to have this action or this attitude or this behavior, I'm telling you, it makes a huge, huge difference what you're saying about the people that you're working with and hoping to work with. Okay? So like Elizabeth and Jen, you have a kind of interesting situation. Either you two can fuel each other's little challenging negative moments, or you can hold each other accountable for how are we going to make lemonade out of lemons. Okay? You guys totally have to make this really deliberate decision because you work really closely together. What are you going to do when you have an uncooperative hostess, when you're trying to sign up somebody that would love it, when you sign somebody up and they're not working? You guys have got to think positively about that person. And Shauna, I don't know, do you feel like you have someone to kind of answer to besides me? Do you have?
Oh yeah.
You have someone? Okay.
Like my whole upline is like a group of people that support. So if I ever have a question, I can go to my sponsor or anybody in my group.
Okay, cool. So whoever that you work with, you got to be careful when you go tell them about situations that are challenging that you're overcoming, that you really talk about it as I want to find an answer versus I just want to vent. Does that
Right.
seem insane?
Yeah.
Tom, how about you? Who do you chat with when you're having a moment that isn't as positive as you'd like it to be?
I got a variety of people.
You have what?
I have a variety of people I can talk to.
Okay, so this is the same thing for all of you. So can you see how incredibly important it is to make sure that you're talking about a solution and not spending time venting?
Oh yeah.
Okay, it really, really kills your energy and you attract more of what you talk about. Okay, that's just what kind of happens. Okay. All right. So do you have a piece of paper there in front of you?
Sure do.
Okay. I want you to put down some of the frustrating situations that happen in your business and just put those down. Put down 3 frustrating situations that commonly happen in your business. Okay, now I want you to take a minute, and based on those frustrating situations, I want you to write kind of an affirmation or something that positive that you can say. We're going to kind of play Pollyanna, okay? And what can you say when those things happen to help you move forward? Because how many of you have ever had a negative thing happen and you literally can feel yourself tired and demotivated and almost sometimes a little depressed, okay? You two are laughing. You guys have too many inside jokes over there, missies. Okay, it's not a very good feeling, right? Okay, the faster you can pick yourself up and realize it's never going to go smoothly. Have you guys ever seen that thing you see on Facebook? It shows you, the road to success, and the other big thing goes the road to success. It like looks like like this, like it's not straight.
The real one.
And the thing is, I promise you, the really neat thing about the situations that you have that come up that are frustrating or obstacles, you usually learn from them and become more effective. Okay? So write down, and you can make it humorous. If you want to make, if you're more of a serious person, whatever you want to do, but write it down. Now, as you're writing, I'm going to tell you something. I've had a situation in the last couple of weeks where I had a client who was frustrated about a couple things, and she was expressing to me her concerns with the way I did some things. And part of her was really right, and it was some things I wanted to improve on anyway. So it was good that she kind of called me out. But some of it I was like, wow, is it really this extreme? And as I learned more about her and saw some of her frustrations, I realized she was kind of taking out on me some things that she was struggling with personally, okay? Because when I tried to fix some things and tried to help her with some things and asked her what her sales had been in the last 3 months and what her sales were coming up, she literally was like, I am such a mess and so unorganized, I have no idea what my sales were for the last 3 months. And yet she was blaming me for not knowing about the assignments. And she was on the calls and she had the paperwork. And anyway, it was one of those things, it was a situation where I had to stop and go, okay, what part of this is mine and what we don't always know what's going on in other people's lives and other people's situations. And when somebody acts, quote unquote, negatively or badly or not favorably the way we hope they would, we really need to do as much as we can to just realize the part that we did right and realize that there's something we could do better. But 95% of the time, realize there's stuff going on with people that we don't know about. Okay? You see what I'm saying? We learn lots of life lessons. So, okay, Jen and Elizabeth, you two are down there giggling. Tell me one negative situation that pops up and what fun thing, I'm just imagining you two are going to say to each other. What are you going to say to move forward and not let as much negative energy come in? Give me an example. Come on, Elizabeth. Go, girl.
No one answers their phone.
Okay.
And so people want to talk to me. And we were giggling because the other day I had that moment where the negativity came over me because I called somebody and they actually answered their phone and they're like, who is this? What do you want? Don't ever call me again. And hung up on me. And I was like, oh, that was really sad and really hurt my feelings.
She was very sad about that.
Yeah, I got a text too.
I think I texted you because we were talking about it. I was just like, oh, that hurt my feelings really bad. So not everybody does want to talk to me, I guess.
But you know what, Elizabeth? You have no idea what's going on in that person's life. I know
Right.
This is going to be a little bit of an extreme example, but I remember, I don't know if I've told all of you, we have 4 children, but we have a number 5. He was our first. We have a little angel baby, and he died about 45 minutes after he was born. And I remember I had to go to Costco to pick up some pictures and food. And I just remember walking around going, nobody has any idea how bad I'm hurting. Like, nobody has any, people who knew me, but as you just walk around and strangers, you don't, when you talk to people, almost everybody's going through some sort of some sort of change, some sort of challenge. Okay? You can't take it personal, Elizabeth. They didn't know. They probably would talk. It wouldn't have mattered who called her that day. She was going to talk to them the same way. Does that make sense? And
Yeah,
I know
and it's my 5 minutes. I give myself 5 minutes to have a pity party, and then I get over it.
Good job. Okay. So no, I mean, none of us like things being taken out on us. Absolutely not. But okay. So, all right. So Jen, what's yours?
I said, hosts do not follow my advice. They don't
Okay.
listen to me. So
What's your replacement?
I would say hosts trust me as their party planner and want to have a successful party, so they'll listen to me.
Okay. Perfect. And Elizabeth, can you still hear me? I know you're dealing with a child.
I can.
Okay. I really want you to write down every single day 10 times people want to talk to me. Okay.
Okay.
If you get over that, you're going to be like the Energizer Bunny. All right.
It's written down in my car because I'm trying to talk to people while I'm out too.
Good job. But I want you to physically write it every day 10 times.
Okay.
Okay. I know you love me. Okay, Shauna, what do you have?
That I can't get presenters to sign on.
Okay. All right. So what did you change it to?
That's the problem that I'm having is how can I, without just saying, yes, I can, or, I want it to be more than just flipping it opposite, but that's my issue is trying to work on that.
Okay. Can I give you an idea?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah.
There are people who need this opportunity and will be blessed to work with me. If you don't want to put religious words in there, change it to something lucky. I don't care, whatever you want to put. But there's people who need this opportunity. I know what your goal is with your business. So obviously there's going to be others out there who have similar goals, right? Or something different, a different reason, but need the opportunity in the same way. Okay. Honestly, sometimes Elizabeth and Shauna and Tom, I'm not sure what yours is yet, but I'm trying to figure out how to explain this in a really good way. When you take when you decide not to focus on your fear and not think about yourself, and you're totally thinking about somebody else and what they're going to get out of it, things change. Okay. Shauna, you're like, oh, why can't I find presenters, and why, and you have this goal to promote, which is totally okay to have that goal. Okay. You kind of have to have that goal in the back of your head. Then you have to go out and go, okay, who can I help today? Who needs to find me? And when you kind of change that wording to, who needs some free Pampered Chef? Who needs some help making cooking easier? Versus, oh my gosh, what if people don't want to talk about me or don't want to talk to me, not about me, sorry. But do you see how when you take the focus off yourself, when we say that to a 3-year-old, we're annoyed with them because they're being selfish and obnoxious, won't listen to her, knows about the cookie. But, so that's not how I'm saying it, okay? It's different when you're adult and it's about fear. When you think about somebody else's fears and somebody else's needs, then you don't worry about your fears as much. It's easier to work despite your fears when you're totally focused on how somebody else might need you. Do you see what I'm saying? I promise you will have less, it isn't quite as hard. You don't have to feel like you're sludging through as much fear if you do it that way. Okay. So Tom, what's yours?
Finding people that want to work the business.
Okay. So what did you put down as your positive statement?
I have people who want to work the business.
I have people who want to work the business. Okay. And what else would you say about finding them?
Well, prior to this, it was I don't know anybody. Probably don't know how to find anybody. And that is, I will find people. They're waiting for me to say hi to them.
Okay. All right, they're waiting for you to find them. Okay, perfect. So how differently does this feel? I hope you take the other 3 scenarios and make those little tweaks. How does it feel different?
Well, anytime you take your negative thought, and this is coming out very strongly in the Power of Positive Thinking book.
Mm-hmm.
Anytime you take your negative thoughts and turn those around to where you're thinking positive, that you're believing in yourself, you're believing that it will happen.
Mm-hmm.
All that changes how you walk out the door.
Yeah. Yep, it does. It makes a huge difference. Absolutely.
We may not believe it at first, but as you practice it, as you live it, as you do it, it starts to become more evident to you.
Yeah, it does. It's pretty amazing. It really is amazing. I want to tell you just a little bit about my son. I have this son who's 15, and when he was little, he was terrified, absolutely terrified of the water. I remember doing like a mommy and me swim class, and I had him on my hip, and I was walking down into the water with him, and he's literally practically ripping my swimsuit off. I mean, I was like, okay, I'm trying to stay dressed and hold him, and I mean, it was like, oh my gosh. And I would put him in these little swim lessons, and all I wanted for him was to not drown if he got invited to a birthday party and be able to get through Scouts, because you have to swim a little bit in Scouts, okay? That's all I wanted. I just wanted him to not die. That was my only goal with swim lessons. And so then we tried to teach him to ride a bike, and that was a challenge. He was like 7 or 8 before he learned how to ride a bike. And I remember trying to teach him, and like if you lean on a bike, like you can't stay up. And he would lean against me, and so I tried to get behind him so he couldn't lean against me, and it was a nightmare. Like, it was so hard to teach him how to ride a bike. And he would play baseball, and he was just kind of he would like tromp his feet into the ground, like he just wasn't a good runner. And I mean, he caught balls pretty well, and he was this big kid, and we thought for sure he'd play football or something. But one year he was taking swim lessons again, and my daughter's this petite little ballerina, and he was just always like in the 98th percentile to height and weight. I mean, he was this big guy. And so here's my daughter and him in the same swimming class, like 1.5 foot difference in height. And he finally, in the bottom of the pool, he would get so terrified to jump in. And seriously, when he jumped in, it just barely came up to about his chest. Like, that's how tall he was in this very young class. And he finally logically figured out that if he jumped in, he wasn't going to go under and drown. Well, we moved to another area, and we got some eye therapy and found out he has a major, major depth perception problem. And to him, the bottom of the pool looked like the black hole. Like, he saw no bottom, okay? And that also makes it really hard to learn how to ride a bike, because your depth perception and everything's really off. And we knew there was a problem because we'd gone to Yellowstone, and we were at this big, if you've been there, there's this like big canyon and this big waterfall, and you sit on these rocks and you get this picture with the waterfall behind you, it's your Christmas card. And so I'm excited to get my Christmas card picture. And he is standing against this wall and won't go over to these rocks where it's totally safe. It's like there's these big boulders, and then it's about 5 feet to the edge. But you're safe. You're totally safe. And Abby is on those rocks, and Porter's against this other rock wall several feet away, and his back's against it, and he's sobbing. Okay, he's absolutely sobbing, like we beat him. And I'm like, what is the matter? Abby's not safe. She's gonna fall off the cliff. And he has such a bad depth perception problem. That's what he literally saw. Okay, it wasn't true, but that's what he saw. Well, $2,000 of eye therapy later, and everything else we did. And after that year, when he logically figured out he could jump in the pool and not drown, he went up several levels very fast in swimming. And then he says, well, I think I want to keep doing this in the fall. And I'm looking at him like, whose child are you? Anyway, he ends up on swim team. He's qualified for big what would you call races, like 6 states, not Olympic fast, but pretty fast. And now he does triathlons, which involves bike, running, and swimming, okay? But this boy, he listens to things like Randy Pausch's last lecture, Power of Positive Thinking. I still remember this one swim meet we went to. And do you know what a 50 free swim is? Like in the Olympics, you dive in and it's one length at the pool, okay? If it's an indoor pool and it's a non-Olympic length, it's down and back, okay? My son loves the mile, okay? He swims the same rate no matter what. He doesn't sprint, he doesn't speed up, but he just passes everybody, okay? He loves the mile. So he sucks at the 50 free because he's not a sprinter. But there's this one kid who always beat him, and you get put in the middle lanes if you're the fastest, and you're on the in lanes if you're the slowest, because you kind of have draft. Anyway, you get the perks of being in the middle. And so he was on the very in lane. He was in lane 10, and he died. And we listened to Power of Positive Thinking all the way to, it's called Ellensburg. It's about 2 hours from here. And that's all we did. We just listened to this book and chatted, and we didn't talk about swimming. And he dives in, and we're watching, and he's beating all of them, and he wins the heat, okay? And he's lane 0, or 10, which you don't usually do. And we're like, okay, what just happened? And he gets out, and I'm like, what were you thinking about? He goes, I have to listen to that book. I said, I'm going to kick some butt. I'm going to kick some butt. I'm going to kick some butt. And he still is never going to be a sprinter, and that's okay. He wants to do an Ironman. I don't know where this child comes from, okay? People are like, your children are so brainwashed. I'm like, I know, I wrote a book on goal setting. It's like what happens at our house. But I'm telling you, what you focus on, you can get good at whatever you want to be good at. Like, people will act kind of jealous of Porter's success, and I just want to thump them because they have no idea what he's overcome, okay? They have no idea that this was not just a natural talent. He wasn't born a swimmer. He was not born a runner. He was not born a biker. He still has depth perception problems when he has to go across our big bridges because, we have the Columbia River here. It's terrifying for him. It doesn't look like it does to all of us. His eyes trick him, okay? And he could qualify, like, he's nationally ranked. I think he's 23rd in the nation for 15-year-olds for triathlons. And he could do what's called draft legal and go to the Olympics. But because they're 6 inches apart, 25 miles an hour, it's really dangerous. And he knows he doesn't see it right, and he knows it's kind of a really bad idea for him to do. So now he wants to do Ironman because there's no drafting in iron in that distance. But that's the thing. It's like when you overcome hard things and you choose to change your thinking, you can do whatever you want. Okay? You can accomplish anything you want to accomplish. And I want you to hang on to that. And I want you to get really consistent about, this is what I want to do. This is what I have to do this week. You don't have to work all week, but you do have to know how much you need to work that week. And then you need to set your goals for your relationships. You need to set your goals for, community service or whatever that is. Put those in your calendar. Make those habits. Be deliberate. Listen to those inspirational books or read. Sorry, I always say listen because most of the time I listen versus read. But whatever it is you want to do, please get really consistent about those things, okay? Because the sky is the limit. Now, I hate to tell you this, but my computer might die here before we're done exactly at 10 o'clock. But a couple things I want you to look at on this agenda. It says, what do you want to be saying, thinking, reading, spending your time on, filling and spending your energy on? I want you to fill those things out. Please be deliberate about what you're saying out loud, about what you're saying in your head, about what you put into your mind and in your heart, okay? Spend the time and the energy on the things that will fuel you. There's things that you go do and you come home more energized than when you left to do them. For me, it's Toastmasters. Most of the time I go to Toastmasters and I love it, and I get to hear other people's stories and I get energized. Now, I know not everybody wants to go do public speaking. I'm a little weird. Okay, I'm not saying you should go to Toastmasters, but whatever your thing is, if you love, like, I'm betting money, Elizabeth, you come home this half, like, half of you is tired and half of you is excited when you've had a really good party. You're probably like trying to decide, am I tired or do I want, or am I excited? If whatever it is that fuels you, do more of that, because I promise you, it's kind of like getting a car. Have you ever had to push a car that's in neutral? It's that first push that's so hard, but after it gets rolling, it's not nearly as hard. Okay, Tom, I just see you like pushing that car. You just need a couple people that you have a couple good experiences with, because first of all, you have a tiny little shift of thinking of there are people who want to work with me and there's people who do want to work a business. And then also, like, they'll know people who want to sign up under them. Like, there's just this little kind of push in the start that has to happen. But I have to tell you, it's a numbers game. You're probably going to have to recruit about 10 people before you find that person who wants to work. And don't worry about it. Just keep signing them up and keep saying that prayer that God's going to put that person in your path that is the right person. Okay? Really look at your habits. Really focus on your tracker, and really focus on making sure you're putting in your phone alarms for when you want to do things. Okay? That's incredibly important. Don't expect that you're going to remember all that stuff on your own. Okay? You're creating new habits, so you have to make yourself reminders and those kind of things. So does anybody have a habit that you're kind of wondering, how can I get more consistent about this?
Trying to think of one.
Yeah.
Because I've made quite a few changes in the last couple of months about that. So it's, and reading positive books is one of those that I've made a change on.
Awesome.
And Elizabeth, you rock, because you're doing the same thing. She knows what I'm talking about.
Okay. All right. Any questions? Any other ways I can help you this week? Get your calendars loaded the way you want them loaded, and let me know if you're having some struggle with that, what I can do to help you get the business on your calendar that you want. Okay? Let me know how it goes. You and Jen got to report to me after your role play.
Got a question for you, Michelle.
What was that?
I have a question.
Yeah, hit me.
Was it your intent to wear a pink shirt today?
I know. No, not exactly. I guess I had that on the brain. Didn't I?
I can't help but think about pink elephants.
Yep. Yep, for sure. I do like pink, but yeah, it's kind of funny. I know, funny coincidence. When I was saying pink elephant, I'm like, look at me wearing pink. I'm like, that worked out well. Okay. Alrighty. Any other questions? Jen, we'll be talking more this week. Okay. Does everybody have the link to go on and set up your payment plan on my website?
Yeah, I saw it today.
Okay, if you haven't done that, can you do that today? You can hit the drop down and there's different dollar amount options.
Yep, we'll do it today.
Okay, awesome. All right. You guys,
Are we on 7 o'clock for Thursday, right?
I'm 99% certain of that. Let me check my calendar here, but I think so. Yeah.
Okay, and then what are you going to train the same as you did last week, or are you going to do something different?
No, we're going to do finding new customers, and I'll record it this time.
Okay.
Oh my gosh, like I looked up to the corner and it said it was recording, and then I went to download it and it was 10 seconds. I about threw up because Elizabeth was so excited and wanted to share it with people. Seriously, I about had a nervous breakdown. I swear I was going to hurl. I was like, no, I did not just do that. I don't know what I did. I must have somehow hit the stop recording button. I don't know what I did. I mean,
when you get the new recording, can you share it with me also? I've got your old one. That would be awesome.
Tom, do you want to jump on our call with us and you can be the Lone Ranger?
It will be 100% Pamper Chef focused. Like I won't go off on different products like I usually do. You know, I try to make it neutral for everybody. It will be Pampered Chef, but you can jump on. It's 7 p.m. on Saturday, the same link.
Same
on
link
Thursday.
On Thursday.
Oh, did I say Wednesday? Thank you for straightening.
It's Saturday.
Oh, I said Saturday? I'm making stuff up as I go along.
You need some of Tom's